Good afternoon and welcome to the Kerry Garden Show. Alan Finn checking back in with you here from beautiful Boyles of Killorglin Garden Centre, which is bursting full of colour as you can see here today. Remember of course to hit a like on this video below, and if you have any questions about your garden, do drop them in the comments. Right now it's time to find out how you could be adding some more great colour to your garden and talk to Trish and Ger. So we're back here in Boyles Garden Centre in Killorglin and joined as always by our gardening experts Trish and Ger. Good afternoon guys, how are you?
Very good, thank you, Alan.
Late throw-in now this evening, we're 2:30 start, so are you okay now? Are you all nervous this morning? You were all right?
No, we're all fine. We're surrounded by beauty, Alan, so...
I tell you what, it's absolutely so colourful around. It's beautiful in the garden centre at the moment.
The very minute you come into the garden centre at the moment, like it's just instant colour. And that's what people want at the moment as well. Just the, their pot fillers where they can just get something nice and big that they can just put in and it's just instant. So, plenty of it there, and we'll go through the small of it.
And the smells, Trish.
The smell, oh my God, I'm just surrounded by the fragrance here and it's absolutely beautiful, especially with the warm days that we're getting at the moment. As Jeremy said, once you walk in the front door you see the colour, but the smell is just beautiful. There's loads of stuff now that have lovely fragrance. So when you're sitting out in the patio, you can avail of that as well in your pots.
Make the most of it, absolutely. Right, well, Ger, we're actually going to start at an area that I'd say a lot of people who have planted their shrubs, their bushes, their gardens and stuff like that, they might find a few little invasives coming up through them, and we're going to start talking about getting rid of some unwanted visitors.
Yeah, so like there is a couple of invasive species that we do have around the county. So with the likes of Japanese knotweed, mare's tail or horsetail, they're both the same names. They can be very, very invasive. So we've actually had a couple of customers the last couple of days coming into us, wondering how to control Japanese knotweed. Wondering should they cut it back, should they take the flower off it. It's a no-no. You just don't.
Big no-no.
Just don't do it.
Do not do it.
If you cut the flowers off it, if you cut it back, you're only making the problem worse. So leave it as it is, and the product that you have in your hand, it's a Roundup. It's a little bit stronger than the normal Roundup you get in most gardens.
So it's the stump killer. It's the super concentrated.
It's the stump killer, yeah. So it's nearly a bit too early to start doing it. Usually August, September is the best time to spray for it. Okay. When it's starting to die back a small bit. It is perennial, so at the moment you could nearly say that the stem of it is very, very hard. Okay. So the stump killer wouldn't really penetrate it. So you want it to loosen up a small bit before you apply. So September, August, and with the tree stump killer, that will do the horsetail as well if you have a problem with horsetail, and that has been a big problem as well this year. A lot of customers have been complaining about it. This will also do the bramble. So if it's coming out through your hedge, or if you have a ditch or anything that you want the bramble out of, that will do it.
Yeah. Now this, talking about this, so that's the big one. So you dilute this, Ger.
You dilute that with water,
and you'd be trying to apply it either by a knapsack or...
It'd be a knapsack or a squirty bottle.
Right.
But with any chemicals like this, make sure you follow the directions in the back and go through step by step. Don't use on a windy day. Use on a calm day. Let's say if you're trying to kill a stump of a tree as well that you've cut down, it's probably better to drill a couple of holes into it, and maybe rub it in with a paintbrush or something like that to get the full effects.
Yeah. Now this little thing is an absolute little gem, because you were telling me about this. So this is the Roundup ready to use gel.
Gel, yeah.
Now it's down as path killer, but you told me that one of the best ways to use it.
Yeah. So let's say you have a new bed, or if you've an existing hedge where there's weeds or like that, there's the bramble or something is coming through it, you can rub it onto the leaf, and that will get into the system of the plant, and eventually it will die away.
So it's like a roll-on deodorant.
Yeah,
for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Right,
so
and you just get the flat leaf and you just squirt a little bit out and roll it on.
Yeah. So let's say you've a nice shrub bed and there's a couple of weeds coming through it, and they're just peeping above the plant. You can go along and you can rub the leaf of it. When you rub the leaf, that gets into the system of the plant, and couple of days time.
It'd take a bit of time, Trish.
It will, yeah. Now, like that, why that is used, if you use the other Roundup with your knapsack sprayer and you've got loads of shrubs in your bed,
you're doing damage.
Roundup kills on contact. Basically, if you hit the leaf of your shrub, it'll kill the shrub.
Yeah.
If you hit the weed, it'll kill the weed. And that's why that's very specific.
Yeah. It's great, yeah.
So that does it fine. So as Ger was saying, hit the leaf and it's translocated down into the root and it'll kill it then.
Yeah. So, and even with the Roundup as well, Ger, it's one application and it'll take a few weeks or...
Yeah, you will see, like, if
a bit of diet.
with the weather we're having at the moment, if you put it on in the evening, by the following evening, because it's so dry, you just see the plant starting to wilt a bit.
Yeah.
But it will take anything from 7 to 10, 14 days.
And again, we can't stress enough, if you think it's a Japanese knotweed or what, look it up.
Yeah.
Make sure before you go actually trying to take it or
cut.
not.
100%. Do not cut it.
Yeah.
Don't go over with the lawnmower. You're like, if it starts there and you cut it, it's going to be here next year and it's going to keep traveling.
Okay.
So it's one to watch out for.
I suppose the reason why it's better applicated the Roundup in September is that the juices are flowing back down into the root.
Okay, so they're trying to get the nutrients
when you hit it with the chemical, then the chemical goes down to the root quicker. So that's why I know it's profuse at the moment and people go, I want to kill it now, but wait until August, September, you can get better results.
Okay, and it'll take time to get rid of the net.
It'll take a couple of years now. Years, like you won't kill it all this year or by hitting it with one application. It'll take a couple of years for it to be rid from the ground.
Okay. Right, so we have a lot of colour and we have a lot of colour here in front of us. So Trish, what were we going to tell the listeners about today?
The first one I have now is this Stilby. We did talk about this a couple of shows ago, but it wasn't in flowers. So
this is amazing because it was. I loved it.
Yeah,
the
it
look
was in
of
bud the last time, and so we got more in now, and we have it in the white and we have it in the pink. Again, they grow to about 1 metre in height, doing a moist area but not sitting in water, and they can be grown in pots as well, or just a blast of colour inside a shrub bed that might have a lot of greenery in it.
Beautiful.
But they are absolutely fabulous. And then, as I said the last time as well, the leaves turn a lovely autumn colouring. So the season is brought on that bit further in the year then as well.
Yeah.
We also have dahlias then as well. These are a favourite this time of the year. I mean, you can see if anybody's looking on Facebook, the lovely flowers that are on it. The one I have here in front of me is like a pom-pom.
It is beautiful.
It's absolutely
white,
beautiful.
yellow, purples. It's stunning.
Now, that can grow to 1.5, 2 feet high. You're talking about a well-drained, fertile soil for it. It can be grown into pots as well and just put compost in with it. They'll flower right up until October. They're a perennial, so they'll come every year.
Excellent.
They'll die away in the winter. Some people lift them. If you have a very wet area, you're probably better off to lift them in the autumn, put them into the shed, and you'll have them again for next year.
Yeah.
But they come in all different colours.
And that's a beautiful radiant
gorgeous. I made another one here last week as well. It was red with stripes of white going through it. It was so catching. It was lovely.
Stunning.
And you can also get them in the dark red leaf as well. And it's actually got a red flower on it. Bishop of Llandaff is a variety of that one. And that is absolutely fabulous.
Wow.
Lovely.
Excellent. What have you got over there, Ger?
There's plenty of colour here.
There's
But I'm going to start off with my favourite at the moment.
Oh my God.
The smell of this is just divine. As you
Listeners
said
and
earlier,
viewers, if you got to see this, tell us what it's called first of all.
it's Nimnesia white perfume.
White perfume.
But it's got that vanilla kind of a smell off it. It's the very minute you smell it, you want to eat an ice cream.
An ice cream, or I want to eat the flower. I
Eat the
don't know
flower,
what's
yeah.
wrong with me, but it's beautiful.
It's absolutely stunning. So we have these in many different colours. The strongest one is the white perfume, but we have them in reds, yellows. There's a lovely one here too with two-tone colours. Got the purple and the yellow.
Lovely, yeah.
And we have the pinks and the soft pink.
Yeah.
So these are great for pot fillers at the moment. You've a pot that you want to fill outside the door. They're brilliant, and especially with that smell as well. When you are going in the front door, you just get that bit of a hit.
And the name of that again is your
Nimnesia. Yeah. So these grow to about 1.5 feet, and they flower all summer long. If we do get a mild winter, they might come again next year. That's if we get a mild winter.
Okay.
But they wouldn't be frost hardy.
Right. So they tend to. Let's be honest. In this climate, they tend to not come back.
Not come back. Yeah.
Okay.
But
They don't like too wet of a soil either.
Okay.
Like they like
They
to.
won't like Ireland, so.
Even if they're in the pots, like don't overwater them over the summertime either.
Okay.
Just keep them more on the dry side of the wet
But
side.
it's just the instant colour, and because they grow to the 1.5 feet as well, and they flower right up to September, October.
Yeah.
So they're a nice one to have in the garden.
Yeah.
After that, then we have another one here. We did cover this a couple of weeks ago as well. but it wasn't in flower. This is called Salvia Hot Lips.
Oh, hot lips.
Hot lips, yeah. So it's got the flower the shape of a lip. But again, these are stunning. These will come every year. They like a well-drained soil. So just for the listeners there, they're arrayed with a kind of a white on the outside.
Top, yeah. So they start off all red, but then the white comes at the
white
very
comes
end.
at the end, yeah.
Oh, that's class.
Yeah. So these will flower up to October. And they grow to about 3 feet tall. But again, they're a lovely one, and there's a little bit of a scent off these as well.
So Trish, do you often get people in looking for hot lips?
I send them to Ger.
You send them to Ger. Ger's the man for the hot lips. Okay, now what have we got
I
here?
have another lovely one here now. It's a salvia. It's got purple spikes on it. Very stunning now as well. Again, if you've got a shrub bed that's lacking colour, if you put a couple of these in, they're absolutely beautiful.
And they're very tall.
They're very tall
slim.
and regal and everything.
Yeah.
So they grow to about 2.5 feet high. Great for attracting the bees then as well. They just absolutely love them. Again, it's another plant that will come back next year. It dies down in the winter, comes back up in the spring again. So if you have shrub beds and they're lacking the colour, and you're looking for plants that you don't want to be planting every year, okay, we've got all the summer bedding plants as well, just to fillers in around the front of the bed. But it's always good to have something coming back again. Just like the salvias, they all come, the dahlias, everything, crosmias. There's numerous
so it's
amounts.
really it's kind of it's mixing it up, Trish. It's having your perennials, but also not being afraid to throw in your different blasts of colour that'll be just for this year
because
and stuff.
They're the ones, the nemesias and the summer bedding plants, they give the best colour throughout the summer. So you'll have X amount spent on them, but you also have these then as well.
Knowing full well.
They'll come back again next year, and you do get great colour for them as well.
Yeah. And finally, Ger, you've got two very interesting ones in there.
These will be the canna lilies. We have them in a couple of different colours as well. Pinks, oranges, yellows. The traditional one would be the white one, but it's just sorry, excuse me. These are brilliant to flower as well. So they flower July right through till September again. And when they do go out of flower, just to give them a little dead head, and it'll repeat flower again for you.
And that's the thing with lilies. They're perennials. They do kind of come back, and they're fairly hardy as well.
These would be quite hardy. Again, they wouldn't like a wet soil. They prefer to be on the drier side. But they'll come back every year without fail. They will die away somewhat over the winter. But they're brilliant to keep repeating.
Yeah, excellent.
But another thing, Alan, before we finish up as well, people with hanging baskets and pots, it has been quite dry for the last while, just to keep an eye on them, because the hanging baskets just dry out so quick.
So much quicker.
Like you really have to be watering a hanging basket every day or every second day, depending on
especially when you think about it, there is a lot of plants and they're all in there fighting for the nutrients.
So just to keep an eye on all that.
But even new beds that have been planted recently as well, you'd want to be keeping an eye for water. But the moisture content is quite low at the moment, so there is very little growth there. So the more water you get onto your plants, the better for them.
And is there any little thing, if it was that something needed a little bit of a boost, with the moisture, is it just water?
Yeah, no. So if you are watering, especially your hanging baskets, don't feed your hanging baskets when they're dry. Make sure they're well watered beforehand. Because if you do it, you're only going to scorch the plants, and they're going to end up throwing them away next week. Make sure they're well and truly watered, nice and moist, before you put on the tomato root.
I know, even if they have gone very bad and you look at it and you go, and throw it out, it's gone. It's not. You'd be surprised how quick plants
can bounce back
again with some water. So just keep
delicious.
No, don't go out and overwater either. Don't kill them with kindness.
The balance is always
you'll see the plants flopping, especially petunias. They like to be well watered. You'll see them flopping. You'll see them wilting. After watering a couple of hours, they'll be back to their full health.
Brilliant. Okay, right. Well, that's lots of great tips there, and some beautiful colour, and the smells of that Nemesa is just amazing. It is definitely something you guys, listeners of definitely, and watchers on Facebook, need to check out. Trish and Ger, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for all your great tips and advice, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Great, thanks, Alan.
That's it from us here in Boyles of Killorglin. Thanks for listening, and do remember to check out the videos on Facebook and leave any questions or comments underneath the video. Until next time, happy gardening.